I should have coordinated with you, and I should have worn either like black or grey, so I could be in between.
But you're wearing
That's
white.
all right.
It's not. It's not revolutionary in your end.
Yeah, I know, but like two hosts should be similar.
Oh.
Paddy, go change quick.
Yeah,
No.
it's you, Mark. You want to jump out?
I can if you need me to.
Content Catchup.
Friends and enemies, our first guest of season 3, and it could not get bigger from our end. Paddy Quay, welcome aboard. How are you?
Thanks, Box. I'm very good. That was a very unnecessary compliment, but I appreciate it.
No, well, I was thinking about it and doing this intro. Like I feel like a lot of shows say that you've been with us since day one, but for you, that's fact.
Yeah, I think there's been some past episodes where you've said someone's the oldest listener of the show, and
You've
I'm like,
popped up.
yeah, I'll slide into your DMs saying like, "Box, this is ridiculous." Like, you can't keep throwing that compliment out.
We've got to maybe award our super fan, and it's got to be definitely between you and Casey Sims, because they're the only of the 20 listeners we have a week. I reckon you two are the consistent ones.
Well,
And maybe Darren.
Well, Darren as well, and the rest of my family.
Yeah.
But I reckon Paddy takes the cake. And if we're not stingy, I reckon we should send some merch your way. But I'm gonna rely on you, Jules, because you know how much I give you shit about our t-shirt design.
Oh yeah,
That's fresh, by the way. Actually, we'll reveal this. This is actually episode 2, but episode 1 will go into that. New
yeah.
t-shirt.
We'll talk about. I can't believe we're going backwards to go forwards, but yeah, we're recording episode 2 before we record episode 1. So if anything sounds out of sync, that's probably why.
It's because it is. How's Collingwood life going, Paddy? We'll obviously get into a bit of your story and where you got to, like how you got to where you are now. But in general, how's it going? You're still pretty fresh in the industry. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, so it's been 12 months now, or 10 months, but I spent most of the year part-time, so kind of got like a nice little transition, throughout the season, found my feet, and then yeah, the last couple of months I've come on full-time, and it's been crazy, but like I love it. Like I can't get enough of it. So yeah, it's been good. How's Carlton World been, Fox and Jules?
Pretty much the same, I reckon. It's always
Yeah.
It's always hectic, but as you said, like I love that you've still got that mindset of appreciating what you're doing. So it's basically the same for me. Obviously very similar with what's happened recently with draft and everything, but it's good that we're all back in the club and actually getting around both teams.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, we obviously knew with the AFLW season shifting this year that it was going to be a little bit more crazy. But I feel like it's also made it a little bit more fun because there hasn't been a real period through this off season, and there hasn't been an off season really. Like, we've just gone from one to the other. So you haven't really had a time to sit around and think too much. You just kind of get on with it, which might be good, might be bad. We'll find out. But
Yeah.
let's dive into the segment that everyone's been missing the most. We're into the 1 minute brief. And Paddy, your time starts now. Nickname other than Paddy.
I get Quay a little bit. I don't know,
Okay.
Paddy. I mean, if I say something wrong, you want to call me by my full name, and you sound like my mum, you can call me Patrick. But
Oh, Patrick.
yeah, don't get that too often. But yeah, Paddy. I don't know, Jules. I don't really have anything outside of that.
I thought you might get one, like you might get called Starfish or something from SpongeBob SquarePants with Patrick Starfish.
Maybe back in the day, I reckon there has been at least one person who's tried to make that stick.
Did you think of that for a while, Jules, before coming onto that? Was it your prep, your notes?
No, actually it wasn't. It just like kind of jerried
Oh.
as Barks. This is a 1 minute brief. Stop interrupting me.
Yeah,
Now, what's your job title at Collingwood?
my job title is junior content producer.
Lovely. Favorite bit of content that you've worked on so far?
Yeah, so probably I mean it's always fun, but like the one that sticks out to me was more recently we had the wheelchair grand final. And it was a really emotional day because Brendan Stroud, who he has been like played a pivotal role in organising wheelchair football in Victoria, and has been a premiership captain and coach of our wheelchair team. But he sadly passed away on the eve of our grand final.
Oh, Jesus.
He'd been battling cancer for a while, so not only was like grand finals are an emotional day, full stop, but to have that on top, and the team, were courageous enough to play, and ended up getting the win as well by 5 points. So that was awesome. And just covering that was not only just like emotional, trying to take photos and crying the whole time, but yeah, just to get to know those guys, and like all of their stories are really, really special and awesome. They've obviously there's a range of different disabilities throughout the team, but yeah, that was probably been my most memorable piece of content.
That's unreal. Like trying to balance. I mean, you're right. Like the emotion of a grand final on its own, but then the emotion of something quite tragic, but almost like it's. I hate not to discount it, but it's like a movie almost, isn't it? Like
it was crazy. Like just waking up and hearing of his passing, and then figuring out how we were going to cover the game, and how we were going to respect, him, and then tied all together. And but it was awesome, and there was it was a good one club vibe. We had some of the netball girls come down, a couple of the players, president, and stuff like that, all get around the wheelchair boys, which means a lot to them as well. And so it was just it was good fun, while also being really emotional and just memorable. Good big content.
Important day for remembering why teams are like great places to work as well, I imagine.
Yeah.
Into a less heavy one, I guess. What's your best non-work skill?
Non-work skill. I quite like my gaming.
Here we go.
Go-to game.
Well, probably FIFA at the moment. I actually my new PS5 arrived this week.
Oh, I've been bloody trying for all of the lockdown to get one. I think I might have got one. I've been so close. And anyway, it's not about me, but congrats.
Well, it is ridiculous how hard it is to get one. But managed to snag one, and after about 7 months of trying, that Twitter account that just always
notifications on for that bad.
Oh my goodness, it's crazy. Managed to get one though, and it arrived on my birthday, which was pretty cool.
It's a double good.
Yeah, so that was good. Quite like cycling, and I guess watching sport.
Good at that.
Yeah,
I'm great at watching sport.
I'm great at sitting at work and having too many screens playing just every sport under the sun.
Multitask,
just like Barks.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that, Jules. Let's not bring me into it.
Okay.
Well, unless we're talking PS5s, but I actually did you hear it was from Big W? Was that the drop?
No, mine was Sony.
Okay.
I got mine from.
Oh, direct.
Yeah, direct.
See, Barks, you're going about this the wrong way. You need to go direct.
You don't really have, as Paddy would know, you don't really have much choice. Whatever drops
there's no
it,
choice.
You jump on it. You give them your credit card. You you trust them. All right, let's jump into. So the first I ever heard of you, Paddy, was when you interviewed our good co-host over here, Julian.
Number 1 rated episode, some would say.
Fact or false?
Oh, absolutely false.
No, I want to hear it.
I'd have to fact check that. But
all right, pause. No, I'm kidding. I would be curious. Digital Rookie Hub podcast. You interviewed Jules. That's where I first sort of heard your name. Talk to us. We'll sort of ask about what that was like on I guess the exterior of the industry now that you're in it. But talk to us about the podcast and sort of what made you want to create that and what your goal was from it, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, I'll try not to go on too long about this, but it was basically a result of, I was supposed to go over to the UK start of 2020 out of pure nepotism, but I had a gig working for Barnsley Football Club over there in their marketing team. So I had my auntie and uncle have an ownership in the club. So it's all very, very lucky. I did nothing to earn it, but obviously thanks to shout out COVID, that one ended up in the scrap heap. And so I was kind of just sitting at home and didn't really. I knew I'd finished uni. I wanted to kind of figure out a way I could get into the industry, kind of the podcast landed as an idea where I could create my own experience, I guess. And it was a bit of a platform to, upskill myself and meet industry professionals and, build a bit of personal brand. So like I was doing a bit of networking prior to starting the podcast, and then I guess I was like, why not just record these and, make it a bit of a thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a shame. I must say, it's a shame if you're aiming to speak to professionals and Julian Wallace pops up. That's another thing.
Jeez.
So from that platform, Paddy, is your I guess from the outside looking in, and now that you're on the inside, is that what's sort of what you expected the industry to be like now that you actually nearly worked a year in it?
Yeah, well, I think the one of the best things about it was that like I'd already spoken to people like Jules that have worked in the industry for a while, and so when I eventually landed a gig, it was I kind of already knew what to expect from the day to day, and the different challenges and opportunities that came from working in sport. So yeah, definitely set me up to kind of assimilate nicely into the job.
You obviously interviewed a wide range of people on your podcast, like both from Australia and internationally. I think you had the world famous Karen Ramming on the show
goat,
once.
The goat,
the
Karen
goat
Ramming.
of, yeah. What were some of the like most valuable lessons you took from some of the people that you met? And is there one thing that you learned that you've been able to kind of really apply to your career in the early days?
Yeah, well, yeah, I got to speak to some really, really cool people. You being the top of that list.
Take that, Bucks. Take that, Bucks. You didn't get an invite, did you?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, people like Karen and Jordan Rabinowitz, who works at the Nets. Alessandro Gasparo, he was at the Clippers at the time, but now is at the Knicks. And then even just like a couple of great people, like a bit closer to home, like Scott Walton, good friend of the podcast.
Good friend.
Shouts.
Tom Morris, Luca Ganano, like Ruben Williams, Jake Stevens, all like really, really cool people. And I guess if I had to take, sorry, this is got to get my words out, but probably the number one would be like versatility, like being able to be versatile and take initiative, having a willingness to learn. I think to get your foot in the door, you have to be able to do a little bit of everything. And I think that's held me in good stead. Like even day to day, I can jump into Photoshop quickly. I can edit a video if I need to. I can write an article. Like I can take photos. Like, so kind of allows you to, dabble in a bit of everything. And I wouldn't say I'm like an expert at any of them, but I can be there to help when required, and I can pump something out I like to think that is of some quality. But yeah, I think that was probably the number one, like just try as many things as possible, like using resources like Skillshare to learn some After Effects stuff, like that kind of thing was really helpful. And then obviously just like it's a very relationship built industry, like meeting people is super important, and networking kind of thing is a really good way to get in. So yeah, that was part of it too.
I think it's so important. Stuff your Jules, I'm taking it. I think it's so important what you said there. Like it's almost like don't be an expert, especially if you're trying to get in the industry. Don't be an expert on one thing. Have the ability to do a variety of things. As weird as that might sound, but that's the reality of like getting that first go and actually showing what you can do. Did you speaking of like the networking factor, how do you find like the cold calling sort of nature of reaching out to these people, like and was that because I feel like a lot of people, if like they want to get in the industry and sort of get that initial experience, the hard thing is, okay, I've got to reach out to people I don't even know, and it's so like I don't know, like sort of just awkward over direct messages, but that's the reality of it. Like, is there anything you particularly did, or how do you find the people you reached out to?
Yeah, well, it started with just someone that my mum knew, really. Like okay. that was my first yeah. kind of networking meeting, like a friend from her past work or whatever. And once you start there, then they know someone and blah blah blah. But in terms of like the more outside of our world networking, like the guys in the NBA, like I think there was 1 week where I was just like probably early stages of the podcast, I was like, obviously need some guests. And I think I spent like 2 or 3 days just on LinkedIn and going through NBA teams, NFL, like every sporting league in the world, really, like the major ones. And going through, and you can see like who works there and their job titles, and kind of just messaging. It was a copy paste with like a changing their name.
Yeah.
But the initial reach out was just like a connection, like, hey, like I'm just graduated uni. I really passionate and want to work in, sports digi. Like, would you have time? Like, would you have time to have a chat, kind of thing? And from there, like, people are so nice. And I think when you go with like a positive outreach, like a lot of the time they'll give you a message back. And then, yeah, once you're on Zoom like this, you can, explain to them how you're not a weirdo. And like,
well,
yeah, that's also up for debate, but give a bit of your backstory and yeah, kind of connect that way. And then some of them I'd be like, if you want to come onto the podcast, like, it'd be great.
Yeah.
To be honest, like, I think introducing yourself to someone is hard, and like when you don't want to, because it's hard because you want to get something out of it, obviously. Like, you don't want to just talk to people for the sake of talking to people, but having a little project like a podcast is quite a cool way to introduce yourself and make them know who you are while also talking to them about what they do.
Yeah.
And it puts your name in their head without them even thinking about, like, rather than just getting a cold email that says, hey, I'm Jules, like, I love sport and I want to work in the industry one day. Can I pick your brain? What's the benefit? Like,
and realistically, everyone likes talking about themselves. Like,
oh yeah,
that's why we're here. I'm
well,
way too good at talking about myself.
It only took Barks about 2 minutes to make the podcast about himself this week. I think that's a record.
Well, you sort of can't shy away from it if you have your own podcast, can you?
Yeah, exactly. And so giving people a platform to do that is obviously, like, I think maybe one person said no, they weren't interested.
Who was it? Name and shame. Come on.
I can't remember his name. Absolute egg.
Get him
I think
on.
he works for the Atlanta Hawks or something. And ever since then, I've hated the Hawks. Yeah.
Shit team.
But yeah, other than that, everyone was like really keen to get involved and just help out. I think everyone's been in our position, like, my position as well, where you're just trying to figure it out. And so when someone reaches out, you're happy to lend a hand.
Yeah,
it is
absolutely.
It is important to know that there are nice people out there, as silly as that might sound, but people are keen to help. And the thing I loved from listening to a few episodes of your podcast is that you didn't shy away from what you like. You just were open and honest. So you wanted to get a job in the industry. This is why you're doing it. And I think that sort of directness probably helped, I'd imagine. Do you think this is a funny one, but do you think the podcast helped get your gig at Collingwood?
Oh yeah, undoubtedly. If I hadn't done it, then, like, I wouldn't be sitting here even right now. Like,
that's awesome, man.
I did eventually interview Chino, like Tom Robertson, my current manager. So, and I think that was like, he saw me and, liked what I was doing and eventually gave me a gig. Yeah, 100%. Just like, I think you have to have a bit of personal brand and show you that you want to take initiative and you're passionate. Like, unquestionably, this is a super competitive industry to get into. Like, a lot of people want to work in sport and especially in digi. And so differentiating yourself is pretty hard. And so, yeah, I think if I hadn't done it, then definitely wouldn't be.
Yeah.
It's good because you have to definitely put yourself out there to get noticed. And you're right, with the amount of people trying for jobs, like, I hate to say, but a resume probably isn't enough anymore. Like, it's what you're doing on the side.
We were we just hired 2 people, but like, this girl Sophie, she's an absolute legend, coming on for our netball content. And like, Soph did some great stuff at Draft Central. And so just, she had like a really cool, portfolio of content, and like had demonstrated that she was able to do it. resume, like, we got a bunch of applications, and like a lot of the resumes were nice, and people had really good experience, but
it's that next step, isn't it? It's that like that competitive edge or whatever you want to call it. And it's not saying that everyone has to go out and start a podcast, because
no,
or like we don't need
a lot of work
starting podcasts. Don't do that shit.
Well, it goes back to Paddy's point of difference. I think like you have to have a thing to show this is what I've done. How many people have done this, and it's like, all right, this guy might be good.
I mean, even something as simple as like when we got all these resumes, people applying for like graphic design roles, or like in Digi, and their like resume isn't even formatted nicely. And it's kind of like, how are we supposed to give you a job, creating content that's going to look good if like you can't even present us with like a nice looking resume, and like so anyway.
And
it's just all about Canva. Like, just jump on Canva.
I'm happy to say that I've never been on Canva in my life.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, look at you two.
Hey,
don't be your bust, Jules.
If anybody wants their resume formatted, by the way, my mum is great at it. So just a side note there.
Yeah, shout out, Mum.
Mums are great when it comes
especially
to
Barks' mum.
Yeah.
At resume formatting. Formatting. There you go. First sign of the season.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's enough about your podcast, because you're on our podcast now, and what we really want.
We're
to
actually
hear
not
about,
including that. That was just to see
get you comfortable. You're obviously now at Collingwood, and we touched a little bit about it before, but the Collingwood AFL, AFLW, wheelchair footy life.
Netball.
What's it like? Netball as well. Sorry, that's the other one. Collingwood's got a bit of everything. I wouldn't be surprised if they dive back into esports or something like that crazy. But what's life at Collingwood like, or life within sport for those who don't know?
It's bonkers. Like Collingwood, I think I haven't forgotten, like when I was in my interview, like Collingwood internally don't really see themselves as a footy club. It's more of like a leisure, a leisure organization. Like there's so many facets to Collingwood, not just from like a sporting perspective, but even like from a community sense. The amount of stuff that goes on, like it doesn't really get promoted, that we're trying to change that at the moment. But the amount of work that they do in the community and like in different sports is just crazy. And there's so much going on all the time, which makes every day different, every day really exciting. It's really like, I'm really proud to like say that I'm part of it, and kind of contribute in some way.
I think that's a really good, almost a good insight without you realizing it. What you've just said, perhaps, is that like footy clubs aren't just footy clubs anymore. They're not, you don't just go out and cover sport. You're covering community, you're covering other business events that happen, like partnership stuff. You're covering commercial stuff. You're covering events. Like it's not just sport. So it's a real challenging thing to wrap your head around as a starter, perhaps, who's just thought, you just come in and you make cool gifs or movies of the players. Like that's part of your job at these days.
Yeah, I mean, even like we had the graduation for our CEDAR program, which is like the College of Sport equivalent. Like, and I was there taking photos. It felt like I was like taking pics in an 18th or something.
Yeah.
But it just definitely different to the camera settings were definitely a bit different to trying to capture training. But yeah, it's like I said, it's just different every day. But it's so much fun, and the people are awesome. I think like the challenge with Collingwood, like as one of the bigger brands in the country when it comes to sport, like we do seem to be in the news a bit more than we'd like. Like I think it can like it does frustrate us a little bit. Like, I mean, I'll speak for myself. Like it does frustrate me a little bit. I think the one that got me the other day, like there was an article about one of our ex-players who is now at another club, and there was an article written about him, and like the headline, instead of like labeling him as one of the other club's players, he was like an ex-Collingwood player, bloody. It's like, what do you want from us?
How weird! How weird is that? That's something I've still never gotten over. That you go home from work that you're so close to, and then you open up whatever internet, whatever you listen to the radio on the way home, and you're being talked about. I just find that's so unique.
Yeah, I agree. It's really, it's a weird thing. Like even just like you're at the pub and Fox Footy will be on, and then all of a sudden like you're in the back.
Yeah.
Training. Like,
Yeah.
like yeah, it is nuts. Kind of being part of that and finding out about things like that's happening at your work from the news.
Yeah.
Like it's such an odd thing.
How do you think you've have you coped so far with like being able to switch off from that world? Like, have you been able to, or is it still something that you're working on?
I think I feel like I'm pretty fresh, but I know I'm pretty tired at the moment, Jules. But
the irony.
But I think I'm definitely addicted to consuming content.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is really hard to switch off. Like, but I love it at the same time. Like, all I want to do is just be like looking at sports content on Twitter or TikTok or whatever, and just like, I think I love just like talking to, you know, my colleagues and stuff just about, oh, this is a mid piece of content. Oh, like these graphics look no good. Like, oh, we should do something like this. Blah, blah, blah. I think like I love doing that. And so because you can always be consuming content, like I do struggle to switch off a little bit, but yeah, it hasn't caused me too many issues yet.
Do you think about that in the future, like future you? Like, because I'm the same to a degree of like, you just absolutely love it. You really appreciate content. But do you think about the future that, hang on, this could end up sort of making me dislike it? Like if you just do that. So, because I got the impression you sort of sound like you'd love to be in this position or similar position for years on. Do you worry about like the old burnout talk?
I'm not really sure. Like we definitely talk about it at work. Like, you know, you gotta take it easy as well. Like even if you have FOMO of some event or something, just rest up. There'll be more opportunities in the future. I think one of the interesting things more recently has been, I know, like, so Tennyson, like he worked together. I know you want to talk about him.
Good segue.
Another absolute goat, but we've actually just like moved out together as well. So, and so we've like made a conscious effort, like if we go to work, we come home, like try as much as it's hard, like try not to talk about work or whatever, like when we're at home, as much as like we still love sport and whatnot. So we're always still talking about it, and watching it or whatever. But yeah, I think that's probably,
it's important. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Did you look like you want to say something, Jules? I want to go on to the bromance.
I was just going to say, are you going on to the bromance? So someone needs to go on to the bromance.
We want to talk about the bromance. You mentioned Tennyson. To the listeners at home, did you know Tennyson before you started at Collingwood, and what's your relationship like, and sort of how has that helped you, I guess, love the job? Because from the outside, it seems like there's just this massive friendship, and it's great. Has that helped you, like starting out?
Oh, yeah. So Ten and I didn't know each other at all before starting. We started on the same day.
It's
And
like a love story. Moved out together.
We managed. E. Maguire decided that, you know, the president at the time decided to resign on our first day. So
I love that.
Clear the way.
Within an hour of arriving, we were like helping set up a press conference, and then like next thing though, like sitting front row next to like Eddie's crying wife, and like it was crazy. It was a welcome to the AFL world kind of thing. But yeah, so Ten and I, like, we were part-time most of the year, so it was really just like awesome to have someone that was going through all the same experiences as I was. You know, the trials and tribulations of trying to balance two jobs. Because I was working full-time for Interact Sport throughout the year and Frogbox. So yeah, and Ten was working another job as well. So we kind of like bonded over that as well, and then just like whenever you start like a new job or you go to a new place, like having someone that doesn't know anyone either really it's very easy to like bond together, and we have very similar interests and very similar sense of humor, and yeah, so Yeah, I love 10.
Oh, come on. Is he here? Bring him in.
Bloody
No, he's going back to Echuca for the weekend.
Ah.
We can talk as much crap about it.
I've got.
Oh, sorry, just the way you faded out with the real sentiment
love
and
it.
genuine. I love it.
I love it. Oh, that's so nice though. Like, it's so nice when you're right when you have someone start around the same time as you because you can, and you're both fresh to the industry as well.
Yeah,
You're going
exactly.
literally on the same journey together, and then go home and kiss. It's just a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Mate,
I don't know how much his girlfriend Tilly likes us. But
It's like him and Tilly are going on a date, and it's like, oh yeah, Paddy's coming too.
Yeah.
Like you're coming on the date with us. So let's not get that confused.
didn't
well,
realize
I'm
that
very
passed.
excited for the Tinning family Christmas in Kyabram this year. So,
Oh, lovely.
yeah. But yeah,
It's-
10 and I, it does make it really easy. And to like on top of just 10, like the whole Digi team at work is like we're a very close bunch, and it's a little bit of a fam. And I think that like reflects in our ability to kind of like create a high quality content. Like we all just are there to help each other out and do the best job we can. And then it's just awesome that your colleagues are also like your close friends.
It's a family.
Yeah.
And you,
Wish we had that, Bucks.
oh, that'd be great. Imagine our content if we did have it. And you recently added content catch up
Britt
guest
Denton.
Britt Denton as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Shout out to
Britt Denton, shout out Britt.
Big off season get.
Huge.
That was the sneaky trade period that no one talked about. The Digi signing season.
They missed it.
Britt another goat.
Yeah, Jet.
Is that
Twitter queen,
Yeah.
Twitter queen Britt. Now she's been really really good. Like I think she's been working with us for a few weeks now. So she's gonna be doing like a bit of AFL, bit of AFLW. Yeah, and obviously smashed it at the Storm last year. Everyone that works in sports Digi knows Britt from her. I think my favorite tweet that she did was just the fuck.
Yeah, she was great at just going
Yeah.
like almost rogue, but to the not rogue. Like it just helps so much. Like I don't know
Yeah.
anything of NRL, but Storm's content and Storm's tweeting, it's just like, all right, I'm a fan.
Storm are amazing. Their content is awesome. Like those guys do such a good job. And yeah, sorry for stealing her, but
Well,
come to the-
we're probably in the same boat because we poached a Storm as
you
well.
did, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Big get, Michaela, shout out. Stormer now it's just Frankie, poor Frankie and
Frankie Noz.
all right, yeah,
Employeeless? Yeah.
employee-less, you reckon?
Yeah.
10. I want to come back. Not 10. Sorry, Paddy. I want to come back.
Same thing,
I want to
same
come
thing,
back
same
to the same
thing.
person.
He probably
I want to
answers
come back
to
to 10. I got a couple of things. I was actually talking to my partner during the week about how you're going to be on the show, and they were like, "Oh, are those two guys that just post everything that they're doing on Twitter?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's them." And she's like, "That's brilliant. Like, I wish I could do that. Like, I wish I could be that comfortable to do that." And why I'm saying that is I think you two have really challenged the big tall poppy syndrome that everyone has, and just been like, nah, fuck this. I love my job. I want to show everyone how much I love my job. And thank you. So that's a little bit of a thanks as a fresh face for that.
I didn't do it. I didn't put my thought into it. I think I just like blowing up my own ego.
But that's what the industry needs. Honestly, it needs to be shook up, and people need to be proud of what they're doing, because you're right, so much does end up on the cutting room floor that when you finally get something out, like, fuck it, be proud of it.
Yeah.
Well,
And the photos.
personal brand, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just keeping a sense of like, what you've done. I think Twitter is an interesting one. It's because it's similar to LinkedIn in the sense it's like when you're in Digi, like your Twitter is a little bit of a like work profile. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like like I like to every now and then, if I'm really happy with a piece of content I've done or that kind of thing, then I'll quote tweet the post and give a bit of a backstory or something like that. It's fun to get around each other's work as well. Like love sharing our reels or whatever where 10's just like popped off and made something dope and get around it. I think that just lends back to the whole team kind of loves to get around each other no matter what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's also a good, I don't know about you, but or both of you, but it's a good reminder of what we're doing. So like people might see you do a tweet of a photo of yourself, or like even that wheelchair grand final, Paddy. Like it's a great reminder of just putting it out there and just being like, shit, like that. Who gets to do this, and how like good and bad, to whatever way you want to look at it, is that, and that I got to work on it, and sort of the family that Colin would have. I just think it's a good reminder to yourself as well by posting images.
Yeah, for sure. I think I really like that photo that I took of Ben, who's he also works at the club, but and as our disability and inclusions officer. So shout out Ben. But he took over as captain for the wheelchair team that day, and so it was just cool to like capture the emotion when they won, and it's nice just like reflect a bit whenever you see content and just like share kind of what you're doing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't really put much thought into it, to be honest. I just can't do it.
As you like, I don't want to say you're going to go on this journey, but you said earlier that you're tired and you're kind of from a long year or whatever. But when you do take the moment to reflect on what you've done, whether it be through posting through social media or sometimes even just scrolling through your phone and seeing all the photos you've taken or the videos, it is a reminder of how fun this job can be.
Yeah.
That makes it sound like it's never fun, but it does like reinvigorate you a little bit and say like, hey, look at all this cool shit I've done during the year. No wonder I'm fucking tired. Like,
It's true.
I actually did do that the other, like I went through, because I like to keep my favorites folder in my phone like updated. And I hadn't done it for ages, and I just went through the last like months and just kind of favorited photos that I liked, whether they were work or like from whatever. And yeah, it is good fun just kind of like going through.
Didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, the little love heart box.
Yep.
I've never done that. I might just do it now. You guys carry on.
All mine are just photos of barks that are in the hub.
How much?
One last thing on 10 before we move on to the next question. I want to throw him under the bus here. So
Good.
10 did a bit of an internship at Carlton while he was at La Trobe University. Shout out La Trobe. If you want to throw some money towards the pod, that'd be nice.
We feel the need to shout out every single thing we talk about.
So 10 was working, I think he was doing a little bit of AFLW coverage for us.
I should have used a Carlton AFLW mug that he took.
He took one. Oh, okay. That's a double throw under the bus. So I reckon it was 10's last week. We asked him to write off a Darcy Vesio press conference, and needless to say, we're still waiting on that write-off. So
if he's got it,
yeah, just send it through. Still want to
upload.
post that at some stage.
Add it to the show. I'll add it to his trailer.
Yeah, can you do us a favor? Add it to his channel and just be like, oh, overdue 2 years.
Yeah. So I'll chase that one up for you guys.
Yeah, thanks. That'd be greatly appreciated.
I can also, I'll whip something up as well.
Back to the structured questioning though, because we want to get to this one. You're young in the industry. You're very fresh. Have you started developing a little bit of a creative process and approach to capturing content, especially when it comes to producing content for such a big and traditional club like Collingwood is?
Yeah, I did, when I was like going through the run sheet, I did have to think about this one for a while. And it's probably only something that I've thought about more recently. I've been really lucky to, like Chino, my boss has helped teach me a bit of photography. So now I've been doing a bit more like actual capturing of content. Prior to that was more just doing articles and, social videos on the phone, whatever. But when you're taking photos and whatnot, and I feel like the video guys do this too, like almost thinking about what the Instagram or what the post is going to look like before it's even happened. So like visualizing the content and just like then being able to manipulate scenarios or then think about where you're going to be to capture that in the best way. Even like engaging with the athletes to capture it in the most natural but also like respectful way. And I guess that's where like having really good relationships with the high performance stuff is really important. But yeah, that's probably the thing that I've kind of noticed myself doing a little bit recently. Just just visualizing what the content is even before training, or like having an idea of what you want to capture going to a training session, not just like, or whatever, a game or whatever, like not just action shots, because like we said, we have a lot of photos of whoever at training, but what can we do to like make it a bit more engaging, a bit more different? Been playing around with bursts lately, been a bit addicted to posting those.
Love a burst.
The netball girls love the bursts.
Who doesn't? In fact, if you don't, shout out. I want to.
People should do it. I'm surprised. Like, I feel like we, as an industry, don't do them enough. They're sick. It's just like a different way of.
Something Scott Walton does
very well. He's been smashing them out lately. Shout out, Scott.
Shout out. Do it again, guys.
I think it's what you were saying, and I agree. It's like going into stuff with a plan and knowing what you've captured beforehand. Lucky I was listening, Barks. It's all right. It's knowing what you've done previously, knowing what you've got to do, and like it does help a lot. So you're not just aimlessly doing something.
Yeah.
And Barks is a big advocate of this, and it's something I've learned probably a lot more from Barks. But like, why are we doing this? Like, are we doing this just for the sake of doing it, or are we doing it because we need to produce something, or there's a bit of a story to tell, or there's a gap in what we need?
For sure.
I think it's like relating that to a very like video producer thing, but it's like, all right, we need overlay or B-roll of training.
Yeah.
But then it's visualizing what you said, visualizing how does that actually look? Because it's like, well, okay, well, why are we doing it? And if the answer is to purely show them on the track, that's fine. But sometimes it's just worthwhile thinking, what does it look like? You're not going to just smack a bunch of B-roll together and hope that people like it. But
who are you talking to? Like, what's the kind of storyline of the need for the B-roll, that kind of stuff? Because if you're talking to a forward, there's no point shooting B-roll of a defender, is there?
And it's like, even when interviewing players or whoever it is, like I quite often I'll speak to whoever's filming it, being like, what do you need me to ask? Like, what have you shot? What have you like?
Yeah, that's good.
What kind of questions will tie into to make this edit like the best possible? It's an interesting one.
Yeah, I like that.
Very wise approach.
Last time we got here, Pat, this is a bit of a broad one to close it out, but I feel like it's a bit of a guessing game as to what's going to be the next big thing this year. But do you have any inklings? What do you reckon people will get around? Is it burst? Is everything's going to be burst? Burst
Everything's
interviews.
going to be burst. Shooting tire train, just hold the trigger down.
Yeah.
Audio, shut down.
Put the audio behind it and just have someone speaking in burst.
For me, I love TikTok. And like, not just the amount of hours I spend on there, but like just like the way you're able to engage with fans in like a pretty relaxed manner, create content that's fun, engaging. I think I've been really trying to work on getting as much athlete buy-in for our TikTok. Like obviously that's what a lot of the fans want to see, like, and it's really helpful. Like we've quite a lot of young players, and they like to dabble in the talk.
Talk.
The netball girls recently have been real, like they love it.
That's
to the point where it's like coming up to me after training being like, oh, can we feel like kind of thing. So that's been really fun. And it's just like the amount of views and likes and comments you get on TikTok is just unrivaled to like any of the other platforms we use. Like, you get a couple hundred likes on a tweet and you're like, oh, that's decent. Like you get a couple hundred likes on a TikTok in about a minute. Like, so yeah, I think we're really like looking to treat TikTok as one of our main accounts this year and create content like specifically for that platform and do my best to keep up with trends and whatnot. And I think, that a lot of it comes from the athletes and just like trying to, have good relationship with them so they feel comfortable to just like, because it's a bit silly. Like,
oh yeah. Do any of you find it insulting? So like you put Jules's face. So you put like
What are you doing to our players?
No,
You're
not
insulting
sorry.
them.
The other bit of what Paddy said, like you spend 8 hours on this fantastic behind the scenes episode of whatever it might be. You get a certain amount of engagement, and then it's a stupid TikTok goes nuts. You're like, what's the point of having skills?
This has been the bane of my existence. So that I think our most viewed TikTok is a coast to coast goal with just shee on the back of it. But like North Melbourne did it, and I like kind of replied to it, just like, you know, a bit of banter, like because we went coast to coast faster than them or something. And it has 1.6 million views or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then I spent, I think, about a month ago, I tried to do a TikTok a day. So I was posting a TikTok a day, like absolute grinding to kind of come up with ideas and have it, you know, have posting every day. And, you know, some of these ones that I'd spend like 6 hours editing and you know, formulating what it was going to be like, and it's just copped 30k views. Like you've got to be kidding me. Like the weirdest stuff gets views. But it's also
Isn't that the lesson
for fun.
Yeah.
The lesson for everyone there is don't try. Just
definitely.
don't put any effort into anything. And
I got
see
too
what
demoralized.
happens.
Too demoralized after a while. I was just like, I'm putting all this effort, and then someone else from the team will have some random idea and put it together and we'll chuck it on TikTok, and it'll like get a couple of 100k views. I'm like, what do I have to do?
It just goes to show it's the way like you think about content, not just like. Yeah, it's all about how you think about it and the ideas. Like, again, you can sort of spend time on this amazing piece, but it won't necessarily be. The idea is the key, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
The one that the kind of area that I've been thinking about and kind of started doing more recently, it stemmed from listening to you guys and what's the guy's name from the Bulls?
Camille. Yeah.
Camille. So obviously, like in the US, mascots are just huge on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like they just have ridiculous amounts of followers. And the thing about it is it's a really easy way to create content and follow the trends without having to like get players to dance, right? And so I have been chucking on the magpie suit a couple of times.
So you're the man behind the magpie.
Yeah, I am Jock magpie. But just like it's just an easy way to kind of create content where like without having to use the athletes, and it's pretty easy to do, and it's also pretty funny.
What's it like in the suit? Another thing a lot of the people get to do. Sweaty?
I'll tell you what, some of these hot summer days recently where I've been dancing around in a suit, I think it's due a dry clean.
Bit of the Lynx Africa in there, you reckon?
Yeah. Well, I don't even think it had been washed before I put it on.
Oh
boy.
Yeah, it's a little bit grim, but
not COVID safe.
Things we do for content.
The things we do for content. Yeah. I think Barks is up next in the Captain Carlton suit.
I'd be all about it, yeah.
That's a dream of mine. So if you need someone,
that's why you wanted to come to the studio.
Yeah.
off the record, or maybe on the record, we found out the other day that the Captain Carlton suit is actually specifically tailored to the person that plays Captain Carlton.
Not everyone can wear it.
No. Well, obviously Captain Carlton is Captain Carlton, similar to like
it's not a suit, is it?
It's the ball. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of life, man.
That reminds me.
That would be funny content, just like a day in the life of Captain Carlton and Navy Nina.
That reminds me how That reminds me how passionate Camille was about not giving up any sign that people put on the Benny the Ball suit, and he held such a blank expression. I'm like, just go right.
Shut out, Camille.
Love, and we need to end that. We need to end that. Finish that chat, Camille, because I remember he got cut off in our free Zoom account. And we felt awful. Anyway.
Well, you guys were talking about the content signing period. You guys have signed the wonderful Gabby.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out, Gab. We're gonna have to do a shout out on this episode. Gab's back.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Back of the Blues.
Yeah, I'm working, doing some summer work for us at the AFLW. Obviously, a star in Collingwood's women's content program.
The Netty content this year.
Big get for us.
It was actually going to be a guest. She was going to be a guest, but we have a no Carlton rule, so
she's kind of cooked herself.
That's why I'm never coming over there. So.
Oh dear. All right. Well, Paddy, Patrick,
Well
Starfish. It's been Tennyson. It's been
Shout out 10.
Shout out 10.
done. Again.
Bucks, I really want a shout out counter on this one. A reel with just all the shout outs. That's your
I'll
that's
see how
your
my
work
week
for this
goes.
week.
We know footy likes music.
I don't know how you guys do this, and like, because I've been like, some people have been on my back to get my potty up and going, and I'm just like, I don't know if I have the energy.
To be perfectly honest, like Barks does the heavy lifting here. I just got
job,
the audio
Barks.
and
Well,
upload it.
Unnecessary.
So-
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good job, both of you.
The audio is Jules, video is me, but it's sort of a fun process now. I think we've got it down.
Yeah.
Jules, you do the illustrations.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Those are the biggest.
Yeah.
I do some of them.
All of
Gonna
them.
have to.
You should.
Gonna have to.
You should incorporate those into stuff of the Blues. Like,
I've bloody told him this like every. Don't know. There was every day I was on his back.
I've got another shout out. Shout out Molly, who's our women's video producer.
Shout out Molly.
Shout out Molly. She does some awesome illustrations, and we've used them in some of our stuff.
Yeah, I'm all about
You got
this.
it.
Do
It's
it, Jules.
awesome, Jules. You're doing it, man.
I did. We did the NAIDOC week.
Yeah, exactly. That was
last year, which
Yeah.
was it's just to be honest, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes because we also have like 3 graphic designers who are far more artistic than what I am. So it's just one of those things. Just don't want to. Just
You're good
don't
at
want
it,
to step on anyone's toes.
Depends.
And
great. There's two ways of thinking about it, Jules.
there's 2 ways to think about it.
Paddy, I always bag Jules because every serious conversation we have, there's a point in the conversation where Jules will be like, "Well, look, mate, there's 2 ways of thinking about it." Just like a tagline.
Jules, we've spoken about this. You got to be versatile.
Yeah.
You gotta put yourself out there.
Do you even preach what we? I mean, what's that?
Yeah,
fuck?
Guys, I'm tired. I don't want to do it. I can't be bothered.
Anyway, on to the outro. Finish the
That's the outro. We started the outro, but we're back on the outro again.
When's
Paddy
egg of the
Nut.
week?
Oh, do
Well-
you have one? Do you want to shout one out?
No, I literally was thinking when I woke up this morning, it's like, I need an egg of the week, and I haven't really thought about it.
Oh,
We didn't even discuss this. This was.
I've got one if we want to kick it off.
Yes.
I was going to save it for episode 1, but I'll find another one for
find another
episode 1. So recently, right, like obviously been spending a lot of time on social media during Melbourne's multiple lockdowns. And recently I've been getting targeted with, I guess I'm that age, I've been getting targeted with a lot of real estate ads. And I don't know why, but I came across this for Raphael Emre Houston, real estate agent. And it's just a Ray White kind of commercial. I don't know the best way to show you guys this. I might just try and hold it up to the camera. So the one thing I kind of love about all of these, hold on, let me tap the screen. Might get it. Nah, that's not going to work. I'll shoot it through via email so you can have a look. The one thing I love about all these kind of real estate things is they all dress the same, right? They've got the look, right? They've got the skinny jeans, the like 3-piece kind of suit up the top.
Yeah.
Usually a long jacket, really well manicured hair, and then like really big boots. For some reason, it's always big boots and like really skinny jeans. This picture's not going to send. Sorry, my internet's trash. But what it is in this photo that gets me is that they've obviously posed for this photo saying like, hey, it's going to be in an ad. Like, let's look nice. None of them have taken their AirPods out. So they're all just like wearing their AirPods. And I'm like, why are they doing that? Is that showing that like, even when we're posing for a photo, we're ready to take your business? Like we're ready at a drop of a hat. Like we'll call off this photo and we'll do it. Real estate agents, they're my egg of the week.
I'm now thinking if it's intentional or not.
I don't think it is. I think it's just that they wanted to show that they're high tech and cool. But sorry, the other one that they always wear is like a puffer vest or like some sort of windbreaker. That's like you're inside. Why are you wearing a windbreaker? They're my egg of the week. Ray White, wherever you are.
And sorry,
sort it out.
Who runs Ray White's socials?
I don't know.
Get them in the app.
Get them in.
Yeah.
I wonder if you're a real estate agent listening to this, I apologize as well.
I
keep
don't.
Listening. I've got if you've got one, Paddy, you can finish this off. But quick one, just to egg my little puppy Reggie for eating a bee and looking like a balloon after he got stung by the bee.
Oh.
You're an idiot and just grow up. It's time to grow up.
Just grow up.
Yep.
What about there's a lot of bosses of the week.
You want to give us the boss? Go for the boss.
Can you give us a rendition of the tune? Boss of the week. whenever I'm listening to this to you guys, I'm usually like riding, usually out cycling, and I'll just like have you in one of my like power beats, whatever, and as soon as the tune comes on, I'm just like, boss of the week.
It's so good because it's not like his actual mark as well. Like that just adds to it. That it's just so wrong.
My boss of the week goes to this is very biased to me, but
10.
Jim and Wiz, shout out video guys at the Pies, absolutely smashed it with our grind content.
Yeah, so I've seen that pop up. Haven't watched it, I'll admit, but
that's right, Bugs, because I don't watch any of your stuff either.
it's a real. I just don't go anywhere near Collingwood content. Nah, I do it.
But yeah, they did a really good job with that, and it's cool to see some like long form documentary style stuff because it's pretty hard to get that out. In the heat of life.
Very time consuming. long form.
Yeah.
We did get to do some pretty cool things. We went go-karting the other day. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They went fishing. Yeah, it was good fun.
It's the away from the club stuff that makes that stuff. Like just to actually see what if they're players, what they're like behind the scenes and what they get up to. So yeah, shouts those two. It's a fun one.
Well, I'm gonna add another boss of the week, Collingwood wise. I thought, and this is echoed by our graphic designers, obviously draft week, we just sit down there and we look at everyone's graphics, but the motion and the animations that were put together for Collingwood's draft graphics, do yourself a favor and go have a look because they're pretty special. And on what's already a very time consuming day to put that together, I thought is well done. So
shout out to Kip.
Shout out to Tiff.
Shout out to Kip. Kip Emerson is also another GOAT, and Wiz helped with those two. So
yeah,
that was
well
they were pumping those out like in the heat of draft night, like three picks in seven, three players in 7 picks or whatever it was, and they were just whipping out through After Effects. They smashed it.
Well
very
played.
Cool.
Great use.
Kip, our graphics. Ellen and Kip and Dan, who's just come on board.
Shout out Dan.
Good
luck in the beginning.
Ellen.
Yep.
But yeah, they've been our graphics have been awesome. So
great use of textures from you guys. From those lot.
And that means a lot because Barks hates textures, like all of them.
Well, not in a graphic design sense, in a weird food sense. But anyway, that's not really relevant.
And sunscreen.
Sunscreen. Yeah, like sunscreen. Hate texture. Anyway, let's move on.
I think fluoro colors is a bit of the vibe, ATM. Yeah.
I was going to say, they put...
I love your lingo.
Barks is gone. He's like, ATM? Is that a bank telling machine? What are you talking about?
You guys are like so similar to Jim and Wiz. Like, I get the piss taken out of me about how I talk.
It's these young kids. Right? They got no idea. Us old bucks in the industry.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, let's wrap this one up. Paddy, it's been such a pleasure to have you on, and to have someone so fresh into the industry, but already thinking like a 2 or 3 year veteran.
You've got a wise head on your shoulders.
You've got a very wise head on your shoulders. Thanks for taking the time. This is obviously episode 2, so you've all already listened to episode 1, but it's been fun having you on, mate, and I'm glad to see you doing so well at the Pies.
I really appreciate it, lads. Thanks for having me on, and yeah.
No worries. Thanks for being a supporter. And one final shout out to these million of shout outs for this episode. Shout out Paddy.
Shout out Paddy.